Let's turn your attention to this now. Thousands of children are back at school, and that routine, of course, may have an impact on their food intake. Good nutrition is a vital way for a child's brain's development, helping them to learn more effectively and become productive. A healthy diet supports physical growth and a strong immune system. Pupils without enough nutritious food, though, face disadvantages in schools, while those with access to well-balanced diets typically perform better. Let's get a better understanding of this. Bring in Marumo Sekgobela, who's Health and Nutritious Thematic Lead with Save the Children, and joins us now via our video link. And thanks very much indeed for your time, sir. Welcome to the SABC. Perhaps let's begin with much-needed context. How worried should we be that not enough children have enough nutrition, especially since they're back at school?
Thank you, Ayanda, and good morning to you as well as the viewers at home. Before I even get to the point, I just want from Save the Children, wish all our learners, Africa, a happy learning year for 2025. And of course, we also want to congratulate the matric class of 2024 for the outstanding performance that they have produced. Now, coming to your question, of course, we should all be worried. And if one was to be frank, we have seen over the past year that the challenges of child malnutrition has been coming every now and then across different provinces in South Africa. And that has actually been raising alarms to us as Save the Children, as well as the country, to say we need to pay attention to good nutrition for children.
And help us then connect the dots between that nutritional value that children should be getting and ways in which that may affect their brain development.
Indeed, if you look at the studies that have been conducted, it is clear that the children that suffered from one form of malnutrition to the other, whether being, acute malnutrition or chronic malnutrition, in the long run, they tend to be slow in terms of their cognitive development. And that has got, dire effect in terms of learning itself, because they are not able to grow according to their age, according to their height, and therefore even their studies get to be affected because their brain development gets to suffer in the long run. Yeah. And when you take those children and measure them against performance in schools, you will always find that the results are very slow to learn, and they tend to really falter in terms of their academic performance or school performances in a classroom.
Yeah, we live in a country that has a typical reliance on heavy starch diets, staple foods, pap, maize, rice in some instances, I suppose, if you find it affordable. There is a perception out there that healthy, balanced foods are frankly too expensive given our socioeconomic context. To what extent do you reckon that really is where the problem is?
I don't think that's where the problem is. I mean, if you look at South Africa as a starting point, we are a country that is not food insecure. In other words, we've got available food to feed all the citizens, within South Africa. It's a question of nutrition knowledge, starting from our very own parents. What is the nutritional knowledge of parents in the first place, such that they get to understand what is a balanced diet, or what is a complete meal for a child that they offer within a household. So it starts from there. Let's first educate our very own parents before we can even educate the learners, teachers in schools, and mainly also the early care and development practitioners that tend to spend most of the time with our children about what is a balanced diet and the importance of a balanced diet, which simply means let's have variety of all foodstuffs included in one's dinner table or breakfast, or lunch plate, if I can put it that way. The key is in understanding what is a balance. I believe they are there, Ayanda.
Right. Let me apologize to our viewers. We seem to be having a deteriorating line to you, Marumo, but hopefully it'll stay put. Can we speak practical examples? I imagine there's a parent who's watching. Their child started the first day of school in grade 1 yesterday. They really want to do their best to support them by ensuring that they have all the nutritional value to do their best at school. What are the practical things that they could start doing, especially if, again, there isn't a lot of money to go around?
Look, firstly is to look at the type of foodstuffs that are available in a household and make sure that at least there's a portion of everything. To be practical, a simple balanced plate for a child should have a bit of starch, should have a bit of vegetables, and it should also have a bit of what we call protein food. Protein food could be in a form of meat, it could be milk, it could be, beans and stuff like that. But one or a parent should avoid a situation where you give a child porridge and cabbage only, or you give a child porridge and potatoes. That is the same food group, and as a result, in the long term, you tend to, that child will tend to suffer from malnutrition. You must always try and combine all the foodstuffs on a child's plate, so it will be palatable and attractive as well. So in that way, you will be certain that much as you give smaller quantities, you are giving your child a balanced food plate that will aid also in their development, of their small brains.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just about making sure the child is full. It's about making sure that they have, again, a nutritious meal. Very quickly, Marumo, I know in other parts of the world there are concerns around obesity with children. Again, it comes down to the type of foods they eat. How big a problem, if at all, is that for us here in South Africa?
It is absolutely a big problem in South Africa as well. As you would know, South Africa is quite an interesting society where you've got the rich that are most really rich and the poor that are more poor. So in that kind of a society, you also find that children that are coming from, certain communities tend to be, mostly obese. And unfortunately, with that situation, that's when we tend to see childhood illnesses such as diabetes, such as hypertension in smaller children because of the type of foodstuffs that children choose when they are still young. Again, it goes back to nutritional knowledge of parents. What foodstuffs do you expose your children to when they are still young, so that they can also learn as they grow to become adults in terms of how to combine these foodstuffs. So obesity, it is actually a problem because most of our children eat a lot of food that has got, are high in sugar, high in salt, as well as high in fats. And that is not the type of food that you want to expose children to for a long term. Yes, sugar is needed on a child's diet. A bit of salt is needed, a bit of fat is needed, but not in larger quantities because ultimately that leads to obesity in children.
No, fair enough. I think these are all very important facts. Marumo Sekgobela, thanks very much indeed for speaking to us. We appreciate your time. Marumo is with Save the Children.